As a musician, it's time to start putting yourself out there. Now more than ever is it important that you get your face in front of a camera and show people who you are. I want you to show people what your music means to you and why they should care. Just because you made a song doesn't mean people should like it. You need to find the audience that is into that kind of stuff. We once lived in a world where you could make music and people would listen to that music, and that piece of content was all that it took. Maybe a little bit of packaging for the single, maybe a little bit of packaging for the CD case or for the digital art. But there's more competition than ever, even with your own song against your own song. Let me explain. When you make a song and you post it to Spotify, that is your master work. That is your song as one piece of content. Okay? When you post your song to TikTok, all of a sudden it becomes a completely different thing. People aren't there to listen to music on TikTok. People are there to see something crazy. They've scrolled through 1,000 videos of crazy things, doom scrolling like crazy, and then they see your song come up. They're not trying to see a song. They're trying to see something entertaining as a video. The music is just part of the situation here. So when you're thinking about how people are going to find your music, it's most likely going to be through something like TikTok or Instagram or YouTube Shorts, something short form, most likely. In fact, the popularity of that might stay on those platforms forever. It might not ever make it back to Spotify. You have to treat every single platform as if it's its own entity that you are creating content for. When you are writing a song, I want you to think about the most catchy part of that song. If somebody's in the mood to sit there and listen to a bunch of songs in a row, yours might come up on Spotify. And they're in the mood to listen to a bunch of music. Maybe they have it on in the background while they're doing the dishes or something, or they're on their way to work. But that's only one use case scenario where people are listening to music. What else can music be good for? Well, if you go to TikTok, again, people are trying to be entertained. So if you want people to be impacted by that same music, you have to generate a visual that goes well with the music, that shows off the music in a way that doesn't feel like you're selling them anything. It shouldn't feel like you're ever selling anybody anytime, except for when you check out my affiliate links down below. I need money. Anyways, when I'm in session with artists and I'm asking them, what kind of visual are you thinking about for this song? 90% of the time, people have no clue. They haven't even thought about it. And that's a bad sign. Bad musician. You need to stop doing that. You should be thinking about the visual alongside with the music. But I'm an artist. I make art. Well, listen, if you're trying to just make art for making art, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? I'm talking about artists that want to make a career out of this. It's different rules for different people. Nothing's black and white in this scenario. So depending on how far you want to go with this is how much of my advice you should take. If you really want to make a living off of music, then you need to see your music as a product. And how you sell that product is everything. Think about the visuals alongside the music. What are you saying? Are there phrases that could actually turn into video ideas? Can you make 10 video ideas off of one line in the hook? Is that phrase catchy? Is that going to be something that other people on the platform are going to want to remix and make their own video off of your audio? On YouTube here, all of the YouTube guru guys are going to tell you that it's about the title and thumbnail. And then once you click on that video, it's all about the packaging and how you create all that stuff. I'm not doing any of this right. I don't care. I'm just doing whatever I feel like right now. But the more you think about an idea for a video on YouTube, the more you have to realize that the title and the thumbnail should come first. If nobody clicks on it, then nobody views it. And every platform is designed to be like that. So if somebody goes on Spotify and they want to listen to your song, that first 10 seconds better grab them. That's always been true in audio. That's an easy one for those who have been making music for a long time. But what isn't obvious for some reason is when you're making content for your music on any of these content platforms, they each have their own set of ways that you want to package that video to impact people that are scrolling on. Within the first 10 seconds, the first 3 seconds, you need to hit them with something that's really interesting. This isn't something where you're like singing and dancing like a corporate puppet trying to get somebody to throw some change in your jar. This is really just about extending your art of communication and entertainment to the platforms that you want to succeed on. This is still a part of the art world. And one thing about art is how it communicates with other people. If you think about art as like, oh, I make something original, I'm original. Anything that's actually purely original, nobody wants to listen to, okay? It'd be so weird and abstract, it wouldn't fit any of those pockets of your mind, those reward centers in your brain that are used to hearing certain things that you like. So you want to make your art, but you also want to package it in a way that communicates that art to every single platform. If you want this to be a career, you have to understand that you are a media company and your category of media is music. Can we talk about AI? You guys love AI, right? I made a couple videos. My last 2 videos that I made did pretty good, at least compared to my other videos that I normally make. And that's because I'm talking about something that there's a lot of discussion, a lot of interest in, and people want to say something about it. So it drives up engagement, it drives up watch time and click-through rate. All these metrics resonate with the algorithm really well. So if it doesn't resonate for somebody who's looking for that next dopamine hit on their feed, you're going to have a hard time resonating. It doesn't matter how good the music is, or isn't, honestly. Most of the artists that I see that are successful are constantly releasing stuff. Every single time you open up the app, they've got a new video or a new piece of content ready for you to see. The more and more the AI is wrapping itself around the existing world that we live in, the more crucial it's going to be for you to be a human being, for you to be real and show yourself in front of the camera. You may make a cool song, but who are you? Why should I care about you? What interests do you have that relate to the interests that I have? I want you to dig deep within your personality and who you are. I want you to be okay with showing people who that is. It's okay to let people into your life. And one of the ways that you could frame that is by understanding what your character is, who you are as an artist. I have a video that's talking about character archetypes, which is basically like a summary of the type of artist that you might be and how to use that to help define what kind of content you should make and what parts of yourself you could put into your content to make you more relatable to other people that think similarly to that archetype. That's a lot of words. AI is coming. AI is here. AI slop is here. People remixing your stuff and that getting more successful than your actual song is also a possibility. Everything is different than what it used to be. So the only way to get ahead of it is to get more content out there. I just bought this new camera and lens. It's a Sony a6700. I'm into cameras. I love the videography aspect of stuff. I'm not very good at it, but I mess around, That's a hobby that attaches to my art that actually kind of helps with all of this. It makes me less scared of all this. So it was pretty easy for me to start getting into the whole filming myself idea. But if you're not into cameras or any filming stuff, it's going to be kind of tough. But get yourself into the mode of making content. It can be a terrible cell phone video. I've got lots of terrible cell phone videos. You'll see them on my reels. They're just simple ideas that I put together, slapped them together. I use CapCut, easy. You could use the free version of it. You could build yourself up from there. But start now. Don't wait for 3 years from now. Don't put out 20 songs without putting out 20 pieces of content per song, unless you want this to just be a hobby. But if you want to be in the music business, the only shot that you have is to be out there as much as possible. Some of the biggest celebrities in the world right now are streamers. They are household names. They have the most content out online. Somebody who's making YouTube lawnmower review videos are going to beat you on the metrics every single time. I know here I go ranting again. This is all I do. I've been asking everybody in my sessions how close they are to getting monetized. And most of them don't know. Most of them have to open up the app just to see what kind of metrics they have. Maybe even have to download the YouTube Studio app to find out how close they are. If you want this to be a career, isn't that crazy? That one of your income sources, you're not even sure how close you are to hitting? What about getting monetized on Instagram or TikTok? What about the research and development of your direct to consumer business model, which is huge. This new direction that we are going in as far as the music business is going to be more spread out and more confusing than ever. The record labels know it, and they're preparing in the background for this huge change that we're about to have. One wacky take that I have is that I think that in the future, a lot of listeners might be listening to their own versions of your song. They could just plug your song into whatever genre they would like to hear, or whatever variant idea or mashup that they want, and it'll take your basic idea and turn it into that. Back in the day, when the only piece of content was your master, was your original source of content, you were able to just rely on that. But now we have so many different ways to consume content, and it's constantly evolving and remixing and changing into other things, that we need to be prepared for all of these different possibilities. You need to be prepared that somebody might remix your song and their post gets 8 million views, and meanwhile yours only has like 100. Anyways, I've been trying to absorb a lot of different directions of how the music business is changing, so my mind is all over the place right now. Hopefully I'll be able to come up with a more systematic approach in how to deal with these new ways of life as a musician. But just know that if you feel comfortable, like you know what it is, then you better be incredibly tapped in to what's happening. I don't mean this in a negative way. I'm just saying that it's changing. I'm not trying to scare anybody about this. I just want people to be ahead of the game. I don't want you sitting there thinking that you're going to release an album like it was 25 years ago, and then you're going to get signed, because things are changing. What are your predictions for the future? Let's just say, what's going to happen in the next year, and then what's going to happen 5 years from now? Where are we going with this? Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments. Also, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll talk to you next time.